There have been many long-awaited game releases as of recent. Even though Half-Life just released their first title in 13 years, there has been one title I've continually checked up on and been anxiously awaiting to be released. Bannerlord is here! So after playing both single player and multiplayer multiple times into the early morning, I'd figure it's time to give you guys my first impressions of the game so far. So let's get started. First and foremost, this is not a full release. It's early access! So you should expect some bugs and missing features going into this. The core features of single player that are similar to the previous Mount and Blade titles are there. You can customize your character, join a kingdom, create a clan filled with troops that are grizzled or fresh-faced. You can siege, trade, or hunt down specific targets through quests. You can fight your way through a tournament and earn some cash from betting on yourself and even a prize. Lead large battles, adjusting formation and clashing, or quietly taking down a base of bandits with half a dozen of your clan members. Build relationships with your fellow lords, townspeople, love interests, and kings. It's all there. However, there is a lot of world building to do. The text-based interactions seem very superficial so far. The companions and lords have stories to tell you whenever you meet them, but they are a one-off type of thing. Some interactions have placeholder dialogue even, stating that they're going to add more eventually. So at times, the world can seem vast and expanding, but the interactions seem as shallow as a puddle. I believe that Tale Worlds will add onto this, however, they are more focused on the core of the gameplay. For those of you that have played previous entries, I do believe you will enjoy it. However, if you've never played this type of game before, it may be a bit much to take on. There have been quite a few quests that are broken, and on top of that, an unforgiving learning curve. Newer players to the series should really play Mount and Blade Warband thoroughly before buying into Bannerlord if they're looking for a fleshed out experience. Once as you recognize the rough edges, it's easy to enjoy what has been done well. And don't you worry, single player won't hold your hand, but kick you in the face sometimes, causing you to lose battles and reputation quickly to make that climb back up even sweeter. Just like previous Mount and Blade games, you can hop right into the action by going to multiplayer and fight against other players in matches of up to 150 players. Their matchmaking feature is a bit slow. I believe this is due to them giving you a level rank when you search via matchmaking. Otherwise, if you're trying to hop into action quickly, there is a server browser up and running, just not with accurate ping. Speaking of jumping into action, combat feels good. To me, it feels faster than the previous entries, in the sense of how quickly you can attack and recover from another swing. Don't get me wrong, it's a Mount and Blade game through and through. It just feels balanced and smoother than Warband to me. The difficulty when it comes to combat is, I believe, in the right spot. It's not too easy to take on a group of people by yourself, but at the same time, it's achievable. The larger battles play more on formations and strategy when it comes to being effective and keeping your allies alive. The graphics in Bannerlord are a definite upgrade from the previous entries. Landscapes, towns, and characters don't seem as bland as before. Now, given them wanting to allow for massive battles, they are going to keep the graphical detail limited to a certain extent. I do believe that they could use some work on some of the NPC facial expressions. It's not up to the level of Mordhau in detail for a medieval game, but it left me saying, wow, that's better. If you haven't heard of Mordhau before, you can check out our last video going into great detail of what that game is about. Given that it's been 8 years, the performance requirements are a lot higher. I mean, let's be honest. You could run previous Mount and Blade games with 150 NPCs bashing it out on a potato and still get a decent frame rate. I've used two different computers as a performance comparison. My laptop has an i7-8750H and a GTX 1060 Max-Q. My desktop has an i7-6700K and a GTX 2080 Super. Both have 16 gigabytes of RAM and the game installed on an SSD. These battles can have up to 1,000 troops in them at one time, so if you're not in a high-end rig, you may want to adjust that before entering a massive battle. My laptop was set to a battle limit of 336. And had an average frame rate around 30 to 60 FPS. My desktop had a battle size limit of 1,000. An average 60 to 90 FPS. The battle size limit is very important to take into consideration when it comes to performance. Even on my desktop during a large battle, I dip below the 30 FPS mark. I don't tend to have issues on multiplayer on either system due to the number of players that are allowed in one match. With that being said, please again, keep in mind that this game is early access. Given Tale World still has a lot of bugs and fixes to go through and do, it'll be some time before optimization is really taken into consideration further, or at least tweaking it more to give you some more performance. So as always, make sure you update your drivers. Now time for the closing notes. If you enjoyed the previous entries in the Mount & Blade series and don't mind some growing pains, then this game should be in your library. For those of you who want to wait for a full release, I will say that Tale Worlds has been working like crazy to fix bugs they find, putting out patches every day since release. In my eyes, that's a good thing and shows how much they care about their game and the community. Not to mention there hasn't been anything game-breaking that I've come across after 25 hours worth of playtime. If you've never played any Mount & Blade games, please look into the previous entry. The game isn't the most forgiving, and throwing curveballs at you due to early access and a high learning curve may rob you of an amazing experience. Well, that does it for my first impressions of Mount & Blade Bannerlord. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep up with our next releases, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon. I'm always reading the comments, so feel free to tell us what you think about Bannerlord or just say hi. Time for me to end the video so I can get back to playing. Until next time, guys, keep on gaming.